Thank you for taking time out with PSOA. Sean Johnston here from Omaha, Nebraska. Today's training tape will be on 3 types of violations: traveling, 3 seconds, and illegal dribble. Before we get into the rules, the intent, and then case plays and video, let's take a look at some tips when it comes to violations. Number 1, violations can be game interrupters. So we have to realize and understand why was the rule or why was that specific violation written the way it was written. Remember, our job is to keep the game safe and fair. We do not have to call every violation we see. There might be times we see a violation, nobody else in the gym sees the violation. There is no reason to bring attention to it. Find a time to talk to that player, find a time to talk to that coach, to educate. This could have been a violation had it affected the game. And lastly, we need to see every violation we call. So when in doubt, did they travel? Did they not? They did not. When in doubt, did they illegal dribble? Did they not illegal dribble? They did not illegal dribble. When in doubt, were they in there for more than 3 seconds? Was there team control? Was there not team control? It was not team control. It was not a 3-second violation. So as you're going through games here the rest of the season, use this training tape material to learn that threshold and the intent of why these rules were written. We'll start with Rule 444, traveling. The offense could gain a huge advantage if they move their feet more than prescribed legal by rule offensively. All right, so we break it down into a chart for each type of traveling. So type number 1, player catches the ball with both feet on the floor. So both feet are touching and they catch it on the floor. What can they legally do? They can use either foot as a pivot foot. When in doubt, they landed with both feet on the floor at the same time or have both feet on the floor at the same time. They can also jump up to pass or shoot the ball. You could always lift up your pivot foot for a pass or shot. You just can't bring those pivot feet down after that. So illegal. What is a traveling? Once a pivot foot is established, they cannot lift the pivot foot until the release of the ball for a dribble, and they cannot land prior to the release of the shot or pass. Second, player catches the ball while moving or dribbling. Legal, controls the ball with both feet off the floor, lands simultaneous on both feet. Either foot can be a pivot foot. Go back to the when in doubt. When in doubt, was it a 1-2 stop or a 2-foot stop? Consider it a 2-foot stop. Next one, controls the ball off the floor, lands 1 foot first. That foot is the pivot foot. So this is a 1-2 stop. You want to get in your head right foot, left foot in these situations. Also legal, controls the ball with 1 foot on the floor, jumps off that 1 foot, and lands on both feet at the same time. We see this a lot on long shots. They catch it with their left foot on the ground, while only that left foot on the ground pushes off the floor, and they land on both feet and then go straight up for a shot. This is legal. Yes, the left foot is the pivot foot. Yes, that pivot foot was lifted and both feet land at the same time. That is a legal move by rule. So now what's illegal? Once a pivot foot is established, that pivot foot cannot be lifted until the release of the ball for a dribble. When in doubt, the ball was released. Illegal. Cannot land prior to the release of the shot or pass. When in doubt, that shot or pass was released. And then when jumping off of 1 foot and landing on 2 feet, neither foot can be a pivot foot. So if they don't go up and shoot the ball right away on that little bunny hop, they can't lift either foot again until they release the ball. Player holding the ball and falling to the floor. What is legal? They can't prevent themselves from falling with the ball with a hand or foot. There are times where they collect the basketball while in the process of falling. That does not negate them from continuing to fall. Once they hit the floor with clear possession of the ball and hit the floor without a hand or foot, now we have a travel. When in doubt, they did not have possession of the ball until they hit the floor. Make it clear possession as they're falling. And then they hit the floor. Everybody saw possession of the ball. It is okay to call travel. But when in doubt, they don't have clear possession. Let them fall to the ground. Now they collected the ball while on the ground. Takes us to the next rule. When they are on the ground, when they collect the basketball, they can continue sliding with momentum until momentum stops naturally. So a lot of times this happens when they're trying to save a ball or get a loose ball, and they're on their stomach and they slide 5 feet. That is legal because the body part that initially touched the ground was their chest, and they did not lift it. Legal. What they cannot do, now they cannot roll or attempt to sit or stand up. So another play is, let's say they're on their butt. Then they go down to their back. That's legal. But now, once they go down to the back and they attempt to sit up, now we have a travel. Whenever they roll on the ground with the basketball, that's a travel. All right, so those are some examples of traveling. And break it down by category. Was it a 2-foot jump stop? Was it a 1-2 foot jump stop? Did they collect the ball while falling, or did they collect the ball after falling? Again, when in doubt, choose the option that makes it legal. Have these travelings be clear, impactful, and an advantage to one team over the other. Crowd favorite, 3 seconds. What is the rule? Rule 9-7. A player shall not remain in their own free throw lane while the ball is in control of the player's team in their front court. All right, so we had a play last week, 35-second shot clock, and the inbounds is in the back court, and they hurriedly advance it up. The player started in the free throw lane the whole entire time. Shot goes up, 31 seconds, and we hear 3 seconds. And I politely told the coach, hey, coach, the inbound was in the backcourt. That 3-second count does not start until we have team control in the front court. Team control and in the front court are very important factors. 3-second rule applies to a player who has only 1 foot touching the boundary lane line. So yeah, if that heel is touching a free throw lane line boundary line, they are considered inside the lane line. When in doubt, the foot is not touching the lane line. Have it stand out, have it be big. This is the part of the rule that most coaches, officials, players, and fans do not understand or even know is in the rule book. There is an allowance. An allowance shall be made for a player who, having been in the restricted area for less than 3 seconds, as long as they make an immediate dribble or move to try for a goal, we are going to allow them, give them the allowance to complete that dribble and or move for that immediate try for goal. So here we have a post up, 1-1000, 2-1000, catch. They chin it, they drop step, they pump fake, they go underneath. Now we're at 5 seconds, 6 seconds. This is all legal. because they got the ball under 2 seconds. So we are going to give them an allowance to complete that play as long as the play is immediate and a move for a try for goal. So that 2 seconds, 3 seconds violation count pauses as long as they were legal when they caught the basketball. The intent of the 3-second rule is not to allow a player with a height advantage or strength advantage to get to a place on the court, remain there, and then all of a sudden just catch and shoot. Right? The lane line is created so the player is farther away from the basket, so it's not an easy catch and shoot. So Wilt Chamberlain, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, Yao Ming, obviously they could catch it, boom, dunk it. The lane line forces them to get away from the basket. So when they catch it, they have to make a basketball move. And that is why there's an allowance. All right, you still have to allow that post player to make that basketball move to the basket while in and near that lane line. We teach all the time, prevent 3-second violations. Talk to the players who are in the restricted area to continue to move. Watch the lane, keep moving, lane, feet. Prevent players from just camping in there. Most of the time, they don't even know their feet are in the lane or on that boundary line. So let's talk to them. We're going to do it for both teams, coach, not just one team. And then application, if we do have a true 3-second violation, call the violation prior to that post player catching the pass. So that way everybody knows that player was in the lane line for 3, 4, 5 seconds prior to being able to make that dribble or move to the goal, because that's when the violation happened. The 3 seconds does not continue after they catch it and make a move. It actually is suspended. All right, that violation should be called in the process of catching the pass, because that is telling everybody they were in there 3 seconds prior to receiving the basketball. We cannot call 3 seconds violation when they're dribbling and making a move towards a basket. That is not a violation by rule. The third topic rule, illegal dribble. So I say this all the time from coaches and partners. If I hear somebody say double dribble, I say, show me that in the rule book. There is no double dribble in the rule book. It is illegal dribble. So what is it? A player shall not dribble a second time after the player's first dribble has ended, unless it is after the player has lost control due to a try for goal, touch by an opponent, a pass or fumble that has then been touched by another player. So going back to the theme, when in doubt, it was a try for goal. When in doubt, an opponent touched the ball. When in doubt, it was a fumble. All right, so a fumble in basketball is the incidental loss of player control when the ball unintentionally drops or slips from a player's grasp. All right, so a lot of times the ball will be wet from sweat. All right, I'm going to deem, when in doubt, the player didn't want to lose control of the ball. That's not a normal basketball move just to say, hey, I dropped the ball, go get it. So when in doubt, it's going to be unintentional. A dribble is the ball movement caused by a player in control who intentionally strikes or pushes the ball to the floor. So I have control and I intentionally push it down or out in front of me towards the floor. That is a dribble. And then the tap. The ball is intentionally contacted and the ball is directed in a specific direction, usually away from the defender. So a tap is considered a start of a dribble. A muff or a fumble is unintentional. They didn't want the ball to go into that direction. But a tap is clearly a direct movement of the ball in a specific direction. So some case plays for illegal dribble before we get to video of travel in 3 seconds. So A1, in the process of catching a pass, fumbles the pass. So unintentionally, the ball is loose. Ball touches the floor, but no other player. A1 controls the ball and starts a dribble. This is legal. Since this is the first dribble, a player can control a fumble and start their first dribble. It's not an approved NFHS mechanic, but if this play happens, you see the officials with the palm ups in the air going up and down with their palms. That is expressing to the coaches and the players, in my judgment, the ball was fumbled. Therefore, that ball hitting the ground was not the start of the first dribble. The start of the first dribble actually didn't start until they controlled it and intentionally pushed it to the ground. Case play number 2, A1 in the process of collecting their dribble, then fumbles the ball. The ball touches the floor but no other player. A1 controls the ball and starts a dribble. This is now an illegal dribble because that fumble was in the process of collecting after their first dribble. So the first dribble started, then the fumble happened, collection, then a start of the second dribble. Illegal dribble, palms down, going up and down now towards the floor. So the palms down is the illegal dribble, palms up is the fumble signal. And then case play number 3, A1 in the process of catching a pass from a teammate taps the ball in a direction away from the defender. A1 allows the ball to touch the playing court, then gathers the basketball. A1 then starts to dribble. This is illegal dribble because a tap is an intentional strike / push of the ball towards the floor and is the start of the first dribble. So in this case, A1 moved the ball in a direction away from the defender so the defense did not get the ball. This is the start of the dribble. So once they collected it, that first dribble is over. They cannot start the second one. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I will say as a calling official, if I'm on top of this play, I will say no dribble. You do not have a dribble. I'm not coaching them what to do, what they can't do. I am providing them my judgment of that first tap / strike. All right? I am giving my judgment to prevent a violation. I would do it to all players, do it to both teams. I am sharing my judgment when I do this. So if I have a tap collection, I will say no dribble left. Again, I don't want a game interrupter. So if I could avoid that, I will do that. Mechanics, we've had this in previous. Always a 3-step process. Step number 1, whistle with an open hand so we know it's a violation and the clock operator stops the clock. We want to blow that whistle loud because now we have everybody's attention in the gym. Once we have everybody's attention in the gym, we now have to tell the story with voice and signal, officiating for the deaf and the blind. Rolling of the hands is travel. Palms down going up and down is illegal dribble. The 3-second violation is holding 3 fingers down towards the ground and waving your arm back and forth. Step number 3, point of interruption. Are we on the sideline? Are we on the baseline? Are we on the end line? If in the front court, new rule this year, one of the 4 designated spots if it's in the front court of the new offense. If it's in the back court, it's at the spot nearest the violation. This does make a difference. So always do it the right way. So when it does make a difference, we're in the proper habits. We're going to now shoot over to video. I'd like to continue to thank Nebraska High School Officials Association for having Huddle for Us officials and allowing myself to use random clips for training purposes. These clips were not picked for any embarrassment of the official, player, team, coach. They were truly randomly selected for training purposes. There is no violation here, but this is the closest I could find when we talk about carry palming, which is a category of an illegal dribble. So as we go in slow motion here, does this ball come to a rest, come to a stop? Maybe, but is the defense at a disadvantage? No, they are continuing to play defense as is. What we look for in a palming or carrying, which is a type of an illegal dribble, we're looking for a two-action process. As a number one is about to pass the ball, the defense comes forward because he or she thinks the dribble is over, and then all of a sudden they start the dribble a second time. That would be illegal. This one, the ball comes to rest on the hip. If the ball comes rest on the hip, and then they start the dribble again, this would be an illegal dribble. The ball cannot come to a rest, either lodge between the hand and hip, or a second action as in I'm going to pass it. Nope, don't want to pass it. Going to start my dribble a second time. So this is correctly called both ways, not an illegal dribble, but it was the closest video we could pull to show a potential violation of the ball coming to a rest, carry palming, but this is not it. All right, a lot of stuff going on in this play. All right, so let's first talk about contact. Slow motion. We have an illegal defender coming from behind. Is there contact? Actually, there is no contact here. This ball handler is falling to the ground. Not because of the defense, but because of his own feet tripping on themselves. So this is an example of a potential travel when the ball handler is falling to the ground. When in doubt, they are not in possession of the ball. The ball is loose. We do not have a travel here because he is not in possession of the ball while falling to the ground. He doesn't collect the basketball until right now. This is now the start of the potential travel. If he remains on the ground with his back on the ground, we are legal. If he attempts to sit up or attempts to roll with the basketball, now we have a foul for traveling violation. All right, so he remains down on the ground. His back is still on the ground. This is not a traveling violation. Falling to the ground without possession, got possession while on the ground, and he does not roll or sit up. So this is not traveling. All right, next play here from this game. This is what we call the surprise travel. All right, so when we talk about training, it's not anticipating a call, but anticipating a play. So when we see these defenders sneak up outside the vision of the ball handler, pick up the pivot foot as fast as you can, because there's a lot of times when a ball handler is surprised, they travel because it's a startling action. It's a reaction that they're not expecting. So here we see the defender outside the vision of the upcoming ball handler as a surprise defender. Let's play it out. We have left foot down first, right foot down second, left foot is the pivot foot. Left foot is lifted prior to the ball being released. This is now a traveling violation correctly called. All right. Another good tip here, center official. You a lot of times have the best look at this because the trail official is behind. All right. So we are not in a half court primary coverage area 60-40 here yet. Any official in the back court who has a good look can make this call. All right, so good job by both officials recognizing the violation. Good job, the outside official not signaling and giving it to the official nearest the violation. But center officials realize if the trail official doesn't see that, you have the best look looking through a play like that. So correctly called travel. So I'm always asked, Sean, how do I get better at calling travels? They surprise me, and by the time I process it, it's too late to call. This is when you get good at calling travels. When players are warming up, watch them pass, right foot, pivot foot, right foot, pivot foot, catch, right foot, pivot foot. When they end their dribble, which foot is the pivot foot when they clearly have possession of the ball? All right, so within 1 minute of these girls warming up, there's probably 30 opportunities to work on our traveling violation threshold. When they catch it, when they collect it. That's 2 traveling training opportunities every single time. So if you are self-reflecting and you hear coaches yell travel, you get feedback from your partners, you're missing travels. And throughout a game, fans consistently yell travel. It might be you. So how do you get better? Use pregame. Train your eyes. Get the pivot foot. And you want to know what? If they are traveling in pregame, let them know. Prevention is key. Game interrupters. So if I see a player consistently traveling warm-ups, how they practice is how they play. I'm going to communicate that to them. All right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Players and officials. Use this warm-up time to get yourself better and to potentially aid in player development. I know we did not cover this specific violation in the training tape. It was on previous rules questions, and it always comes up. Backcourt violation. All right, so in Federation High School, even if the defense tips it right now, that does not matter. It's irregardless in NFHS high school rules. It's all about who was the player that last touched it. So the player who last touched it was the defense in a black jersey. So now once that ball gets to the backcourt, this is where we want to use the tipping signal. All right, so this calling official is going to give the tip signal. What that tip signal is saying is anybody now can be the first to touch it in the backcourt. So correctly ruled that the black team was the last one to touch it in the front court, and anybody can recover it by using that tip signal. On this training play, I always ask officials, how many steps can a player take while holding the basketball? Left foot's the pivot foot. Right foot, 1 step. Right foot, 2 step. Right foot, 3 step. 4 step, 5 step, 6 step, 7 step, 8 step. She actually took 8 steps with her right foot, but her right foot was not the pivot foot. Correctly called. No travel. A lot of times they make those stutter steps with the same foot 2, 3, 4 times. Everybody's yelling travel. You could take stutter steps with the non-pivot foot. Remember, when in doubt, they did not lift and bring back down that pivot foot. Correct call, no travel. Now this player's going towards the baseline. Collects the basketball. Is she done collecting the basketball yet right now? Or is she done collecting the basketball at this moment? Depending on your judgment, will depend on which foot is the pivot foot. When in doubt, it is a slow collection of the basketball. Make sure it is very clear when the player collects the basketball. So right foot is the pivot foot. This is when she has clear possession of the basketball. Right foot was lifted. Right foot was back down. But now we got to get a look at the basketball. The basketball is loose. You cannot travel unless you have clear possession of the basketball. So the training purpose here is be slow in your processing. When they collect it, be conservative on when they collected it. When they lift the pivot foot and bring it back down, find the basketball. Make sure they have clear possession of the basketball before you call a violation. And then the last part of that was now we have a falling player. She collected the basketball on the ground. Her butt was on the ground. She did not attempt to sit up. She passed it to a teammate. All 3 situations, all 3 types of travels, all right, let it play on. It has to be a clear violation for us to call travel. Good job there by the crew. So to demonstrate a 3-second violation, we're going to do some international basketball. You're going to see number 77 enter the lane. This is when the 3-second count starts. 6:26. Gets the basketball, 6:24. 2 seconds, which is under 3 seconds. So we are going to allow number 77 immediately dribble and make a move towards the goal. We will not call 3 seconds here as so long as number 77 continues to dribble and move towards the basket for goal. He is stopped, and then he passes it to a teammate. Now we're going to continue the 3-second count. We were at 2. It was suspended for allowance. Now we're going to start it back up. Since he remains in the lane line for another second, now we have a 3-second violation. Correctly called, correctly ruled after he passed it out and continued the 3-second count. As we finish up this week's training tape on violations of travel, illegal dribble, and 3 seconds, we want to remind officials, please email us rules questions. We post daily quiz questions. We're going to continue posting daily shorts. If there is a play that you want us to use for training purposes, please send it our way. If there's a rules question you have, you're probably not the only one that has that rules question. Send it our way to psoa@premiersportsofficials.com, and we could put it on our YouTube channel. And remember, subscribe to the channel. Like the quiz questions, like the daily shorts and training tapes you like, and most importantly, share this Timeout with PSOA YouTube channel with other sports officials, with fans you come in interaction with, and coaches. Because it is through the dissemination of this information that will bring understanding of the rules, mechanics, signals, thresholds, and violations of fouls. Thank you for taking time out with PSOA today. Officials, remember, you're only as good as your last call.